And you are live.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening. We are calling to today's meeting of the Akron Civil Rights Commission. It is 4:40 p.m. A quorum is present to begin the meeting. Today is August 2nd, 2022. I will call the roll so that everyone has an opportunity to be seen and heard of the commissioners. I'm Chair Esther Thomas, and I will ask the commissioners to introduce themselves, starting alphabetically with Commissioner Alexander. Or if you want to say present, that's good as well.
All right, this is Commissioner Alexander, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Maddox.
Present.
Okay. Commissioner Miller.
Present.
Commissioner Rice.
Present.
All right, we've established the quorum and the beginning of the meeting. The first also present today from the City of Akron, City Law Department, Attorney John York, from the IT Department, Ms. Nina Ost, and also from the Independent Auditor, Mr. Phil Young. Thank you all for your time today. The first item of business on the agenda is to welcome our newest commissioner, Commissioner Casey Miller. Commissioner Miller, would you like to say a few words?
Just a thanks. I wasn't super prepared to say anything, but it's really cool to be in a group like this. I've been trying to do like ADA activism around Akron. I mean, really since my injury in 2009, and have been doing stuff with Petra Kucha and Akron Makerspace and stuff like that. So it's just really cool to be in this group, and I'm very thankful.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I do understand that you were confirmed appointed by the mayor and confirmed back in June, or was it July? June. Okay. Unfortunately, we were unable to have our July meeting, so you would have been welcomed then. So we welcome you now, and I will welcome you to the commission. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You've been added to the letterhead. It might be changed around a little bit, but you're definitely there. And thank you, Commissioner Miller. The second item of business is approval of June minutes. The former secretary, Commissioner Wilson, did send those minutes out at the end in June, prior to the July meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those that were sent out previously? Is there a motion for approval of those minutes?
So moved.
Okay.
Commissioner Maddox.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Thank you, Commissioner Alexander. Is there any discussion with regard to June minutes? Okay, I will let everyone know that I am taking the minutes of this meeting because we do not have a secretary, and hopefully we'll be able to address that.
Madam President, I think I volunteered for today, so I was taking them.
Oh, well then don't let me interrupt you,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Alexander. Thank you so much.
Got
Carry
it.
on. Okay, thank you. The motion having been made and seconded, and there's no further discussion, I will, by roll, as pursuant to rules, proceed in alphabetical order, and ask the commissioners to either indicate yay or nay, or yes or no. Commissioner Alexander?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Maddox?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas says yes. Commissioner Rice?
Yes.
Okay, those minutes, the June minutes pass unanimously. Thank you all so much. The next order of business is continue with old business, is complaint number 19 ACRC 0013. There is a, with regard to the hearing status, the hearing officers are Commissioners Maddox, Rice, and Alexander. Is there an update at this time?
There is. I spoke with Attorney Palmer, who's representing the respondent. And so they are confirmed for August 31st. They have talking about some logistical things. They will have two, groups of people or whatever flying in from Atlanta and from North Carolina. So they're in the process of setting up and coordinating how that's going to work for them. They wanted to know, I think they will have 2 to 3 witnesses per se present on the respondent side, a couple of people from labor relations, and then 1 supervisor. They wanted to know if it would be possible. So I guess, Attorney York, if you're on the line, this would be for you. They want to know if it would be possible for those witnesses to testify virtually. So they kind of want to know if that would work. Also, they wanted to know if the complainant has any witnesses that they're going to summon, and also if the complainant has retained counsel since all of this has been going on. The complainant has sought their own legal counsel. They also, they will be sending, I asked them to send in a PDF to John York and to myself, any exhibits or documents so that we can have adequate copies for the hearing. And we can make copies on this end, but I did ask that they send them at least to both of us so that we can make sure that those documents are here prior to the hearing. Also, they wanted to know the start time, and most importantly, they just wanted some sense of what would happen in the event that we don't reach some resolution on the 31st. How does the continuance work? Will we continue the following day? Do we have a time limit? So those are the questions before the group. And again, Attorney York, if some of that you could answer, and I guess we can discuss anything else.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Maddox. If we could take those in order, and I'll turn the floor over to Attorney York with regard to, I think the
first one
Well, the
had to
question
do
about
with,
virtual testimony, I think the commission had made the decision to hold the hearing in person. Part of what you do, during the hearing is assess credibility. And it seems that the best way to assess credibility is to be able to sit in the same room with someone and be able to see how they react and how they speak and how they present themselves. And, that all goes into whether you find their testimony truthful.
okay.
Mhm.
I thought that
So I
was the
believe
decision
that
as
was what
well.
the commission decided some time ago, was to do the whole proceeding in person.
Okay, all right. That was my recollection. And I just wanted to make sure of how many, based on the number of people who are going to be coming in. So I will get back. I told Attorney Palmer I would get back with responses to all of these. The next question was, does our complainant have any witnesses? Are there any additional witnesses on this end on the complainant's behalf? Is there anyone else that we expect to attend?
I have not been, having done the conciliation, I have not been in contact with the complainant. Has the, maybe Attorney York, has the complainant responded to hearing notices or anything of that nature?
No, not at all. He hasn't responded at all. I did send the notices, so I think that goes to the question of the start time. I don't have the notice in front of me, but the notice said August 30th. And it said the date of, I'm sorry, the time of the hearing, which was either 4 or 4:30.
4:30.
Okay, I mean, that's the start time.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we are going to be using council chambers, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The next question was, did the complainant retain their own counsel? In this interim, since it's been extended and protracted, do we know if the complainant has retained their own counsel?
I've gotten no response, no reason to believe that he has.
Or any notice of appearance, certainly counsel would have certainly done that.
Yeah.
Well, Attorney York, if after this call, if you could give me that person's phone number, just so I can try to touch base real quick and have some answers when I reach back to Attorney Palmer, just to see, because since we haven't heard anything, I just want to make sure that they're still in the loop. And, you know, for all we know, and we've had this experience before, that people change their mind, go away, forget about it, and so forth. So, and they don't always inform us that in the event that we're not able to reach them, they don't always respond back. So I want to give the complainant every opportunity to respond if you know, before we have the respondent make the efforts to fly in and so forth. I just would kind of like to feel the pulse of the complainant at this point. And so
And to that point, Commissioner Maddox, the complainant at any time could withdraw their complaint.
Right.
But if they have, you know, if they, you know, that certainly, if it was done in a timely fashion, you know, that would we would communicate that to the respondents.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just, again, I just don't know where, what their disposition is at this point. So I just want to verify that we are going forward, that they are a participant, and that they perhaps may not have changed their mind with regard to this case. And then this last question, we can't really answer with regard to whether we would, how we would proceed if there's a need to continue the next day. I understand they want to make travel plans and arrangements as well. So I don't have any sense of how long this might take. So does anyone else have some input as to how we might manage this?
Sure. And I'm going to preface this by saying I think this is where the City of Akron Law Department can continue to be helpful, that we look at how many number of witnesses. I mean, if there are a half dozen witnesses, that might take a bit longer, particularly if there's you know, respondents counsel as well as complainants counsel. The other part is it begins at 4. Was it anticipated it was going to go 4 to 8 p.m. or 4 to 9 p.m.? Because I'm not sure how long the city building would be available. So I'm going to ask Attorney York to also weigh in on this.
Well, I mean, it's really your proceeding, your hearing. But my understanding was that it would continue as long as it took, until the commission might decide we just can't go on any longer. We need to end this, you know, at that evening, whatever time it may be. I don't anticipate that the building would become unavailable. I understand at some point everybody needs to go home and go to sleep. But really, it's sort of it's up to the commission. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like there's going to be 3 witnesses. It sounds like a complainant will testify. Well, I'm sorry, I should say 3 or 4, because Commissioner Maddox just told us that the respondent anticipates 2 to 3 witnesses.
Mhm. So that's for, so would the council chambers be available the following day? I guess that would be a question, is if there's a continuance, I can't imagine that they would want to fly home the next day and then come back to continue. So do
It's
we
not even
have?
just a question of council chambers, it's a question of all the commissioners.
Yeah,
whenever available.
okay.
Okay, so if I may, I think we might, this might be an opportune time by the end of this week to propose another date in case there is some additional business, or the hearing officers could, determine whether or not that additional, a second day or a second hearing block of time can be scheduled, and whether or not that might be virtual as well. So, I mean, I think there's a couple of things offline that procedurally that the commissioners can discuss. I mean, we are permitted to discuss procedural matters, and certainly scheduling would be one of those things. So, does that sound reasonable? Particularly, if we have a backup date, that might be prudent so that they know now on the 2nd or 3rd of August, so that all the parties could plan accordingly.
I'm looking at a calendar here, and we have booked, we have reserved the 31st is what I had. Is it the 30th or 31st? Did I write this on the wrong date?
It's the 30th.
It's the 30th. So I first, let me ask my fellow hearing officers, Commissioner Rice and Alexander, would you all be available if we went into a second day, which would be Wednesday, the 31st?
You look at my calendar, it's little. So you said the first day would be the 30th?
Yes, that's day one of the hearing. And it would be at, I have 4:30. Does anyone have something different?
Is this, given this, is this something that you all feel comfortable addressing offline because I hate anyone to be on the spot to make a decision right now.
Okay.
And someone's already admitted to having jet lag in this call, so.
Okay. All right. Well, please, Commissioner Alexander and Commissioner Rice, as soon as you can check your calendars, let me know if you are available on the 31st, if there should be a continuance.
Yeah, let me just clarify real quick, because I'm looking at the notice now, and I just said that it was on August 30th. That is not correct. It's on August 31st. So you were right, Commissioner Maddox.
Okay.
August 31st.
Okay.
Wednesday, August 31st.
Wednesday, August 31st. Okay. I thought I had written down the wrong thing.
No, I'm glad you got me to look at the notice.
I mean, I know I just asked, I also would invite you all to consider the following, which is we're all scheduled for a meeting on September 6th. So presumably the commissioners would be available at that time. It's the day after Labor Day. So that might be, if you're looking for times on your calendar within that short period of time, that also might be an option, and that we would move the commission meeting to accommodate that if necessary. So that's, please, as you review your calendars, if you're finding it difficult to locate time for a 3 or 4 hour block of time, be aware that, there is a time set on the 6th.
I just out of at least some consideration and respect of the time with the parties who are flying in from out of 2 states, I think in the back of their mind, they would understand if they needed to go from the 31st to the 1st.
Mhm.
So, just out of consideration, to have to fly back a week later might not be.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I would strive, if we can, if our commissioners can line up their schedules, if we can work hopefully to bring this to culmination between those 2 days, I would hope that we could pursue it from that, with that thought in mind. So anyway, I will get back to Attorney Palmer with the information that we have, and once I find out from the other hearing officers what their schedules would be in terms of availability, then consider the 30th first and the 1st. Should we need that extra time. And if I could get the phone number for our complainant, then I can give them a call, because I would hate to plan all this and it all be for naught.
And I believe it's if Attorney York doesn't have that, certainly it's on the initial complaint. And if you could follow up on tomorrow, Commissioner Maddox, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much for all of your effort and time in arranging this matter. It's when this was scheduled, it seemed a long time. It seemed far away, and now it is upon us. So I commend you for that and appreciate all of your efforts and your colleagues' efforts in addressing this. Anything else before we move on to the next matter? Okay, thank you so much, commissioners. Item 2 under complaints, this is in regard to matter 21 ACRC 0015. This matter was previously investigated by our commissioner, who is no longer with us. And so this matter actually needs to be reassigned. As some of you all might recall, there was a presentation, there was a document written, and discussion. Based on a discussion that the commission had an executive session, we redirected that commissioner to inquire of the complainant and respondent some additional questions and considerations. And so this is why this matter is still pending. It is incumbent upon me to assign this matter. I would ask if there are any volunteers, any individuals who have not yet had the opportunity to have a case. This one has been pretty well developed. And so I would ask that anyone who is interested in that, please email me or text me, and then I would make that assignment. Does anyone have any questions with respect to this?
Is it stuff that I could help with? I mean,
it is certainly. I'm in. As a commission, we're a little short. We're in no position to turn down assistance, but I do know this is your first meeting, and it actually, if you feel comfortable moving forward, I certainly would not discourage that, but I also am mindful that you are the newest commissioner, and there are some other commissioners who have not yet had a case, who had a slightly longer tenure than you, but
that okay. I just want to make sure.
But certainly I did ask for volunteers, so I did want to give everyone an opportunity to think about this, but certainly Commissioner Miller, if you are interested, I would do a warm handoff with this matter and to you if you feel comfortable in doing that.
Let me look into
It's
stuff.
okay. I will be following up with all of the commissioners at the conclusion of this meeting so that we can move this forward. I am looking for a volunteer, but at the same time, I would and there's many resources to assist, and this matter has been I'd say it's probably 80 to 90% of the way concluded. We did just, yeah.
Madam President, if you would like, I'll volunteer for that.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Alexander. I appreciate that. On this, Commissioner Miller, this might be an opportunity as you go through this process to familiarize yourself with the rules, the procedures, in anticipation of a new case. That way, you know, I think it's, we've all started, most of the cases started at the beginning and worked our way through. So it might be, I would hope that that would be good for you as well. Commissioner Alexander, I thank you so much for your volunteering, and we'll assign this matter to you. I will follow up with offline procedurally for a handover of where we are, and give you those tools that Commissioner Wilson left, and because he did leave us in pretty good shape on this matter, or they did leave us in good shape on this matter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item of business is new business, and that comes to the election of officers. Currently, the officers that we are charged with filling, typically this is done in the annually in the July meeting, are the offices of chair, vice chair, and secretary. All of these matters, all of these offices are renewed annually in July. And so at this time, pursuant to rules, I will ask if there are any nominations for the office of chair. I believe our procedure is that's the first office that we nominate and elect, followed by the vice chair, nominate and elect, followed by the secretary, nominate and elect if we have nominations. So I saw Attorney York nodding, so I think I'm on.
You are correct.
Okay, all right. Are there any nominations for the office of chair at this time?
I would nominate you, Madam President, to stay in the chair.
I would second that nomination. Commissioner Maddox.
Okay. I would accept that nomination with respect and the privilege of doing this work, and thank you all. I will say that having served as chair for the last 13 months, 12 months, it is both an honor and a privilege. I do wish to move forward with the full backing of the commission in this matter, because I believe that the assembled commissioners are awesome and that we can do great work. And I believe that we can achieve something greater than we achieved in the last 12 months and the months before that. And I would graciously accept that nomination. Are there any other nominations for chair?
I make a motion that the nominations come to a close.
I second.
Motion having been moved and seconded. I suppose we don't have to vote on that, or do we procedurally, John, on the closing of the nominations?
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button. I believe you could do a sort of like a joint motion to close the nominations and to pass the vote all in one motion. So you wouldn't have to do two roll calls.
Okay. So is there, Commissioner Rice, would you like to revise your nomination or your motion to make it inclusive of closing the nominations and moving to accept the vote or to vote?
Yes, I revised my motion. I make a motion that the nominations come to a close and that said name listed is elected as our new chair.
I second the motion.
Okay, there's been a motion, a revised motion, and both have been seconded properly. Is there any discussion at this time? Okay, that being said, proceeding in alphabetical order pursuant to the rules, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Alexander, how say you?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Maddox, how say you on the nomination? And the
Yes.
motion? Yes. Commissioner Miller, how say you?
Yes.
Commissioner Rice, how say you? Oh, okay, I think we had a technical difficulty. Hopefully he'll be back. Commissioner Thomas, I say yes to the motion as well. And since we still have a quorum, but I do want to give Commissioner Rice an opportunity to get back. Did he say his? Okay, but actually, John, we have enough at this point. We do have a quorum. If we wanted to move things along.
Correct, you could do that.
Okay,
He had not yet voted, so right now it's 4-0, still passes.
okay.
But I don't know if you want to wait for him so that he could become
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
the rest of the discussion.
Well, I would say that based upon the commissioners present, we have a quorum and it's been unanimous. I would move forward unless people feel that that's not the right thing to do. And then move to nominations for vice chair. The motion is passed. Thank you all very much. Next is next is the nomination for vice chair. I have received a communication that we're about to lose, after the vote, okay. Is there a nomination for vice chair? I will share that I received a communication from Commissioner Pitt that she would be happy to continue to serve as vice chair. And so I'm going to take that as she nominated herself. And I would, are there any other nominations? I believe I'm supposed to say this 3 times. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Commissioner Pitt has nominated herself. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, I would move that Nanette Pitt be elected as vice chair for the upcoming year. Is there a second to that motion?
I second Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, being none, I will call the roll on this vote, starting alphabetically with Commissioner. I move that we accept the nomination of Commissioner, it's already been second. Okay, Commissioner Alexander, how say you on the motion?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Maddox.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
And Commissioner Thomas says yes as well. With a quorum present, Nanette Pitt is duly elected as vice chair of the Akron Civil Rights Commission. At this time, there is another, we might be losing our quorum, but there is another position of secretary. Are there any nominations for secretary at this time?
I would nominate Gina K. Maddox.
I will just respectfully decline due to my schedule.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Maddox. Thank you, Commissioner Alexander.
In that case, I will recommend Dr. Rice.
Well, Dr. Rice is not here to address that, and I and Dr. Rice has, I'm muted, has not indicated prior to the meeting that he would be interested in doing that. So I would, you've nominated him. But I'm
sorry, go ahead.
no, please,
I was
Commissioner.
saying,
Commissioner Linder.
if not, then, I did see in the chat that we did talk about rotating, and if we need to, I would recommend that we could rotate secretaries throughout the year.
It looks like Dr. Rice is joining now.
Okay. Commissioner Alexander, procedurally, I do know that one of the more challenging positions is secretary. Hi, Dr. Rice, and that I am going to renew my request with the city to provide additional services and support, administrative support, and I would hope that we would be able to get some assistance for this position, but procedurally, the commissioners did indicate that if we all took a turn at doing the minutes, perhaps someone would have an opportunity to really enjoy taking the minutes, so that we would rotate at least through the end of the year to do that as an alternative. I do recall that procedural discussion, and I think it's sound. Commissioner Rice, thank you. You've joined us again. You were nominated for the office of secretary. I indicated that you had not previously stated that you expressed an interest in that. And so I'll give you an opportunity to address that. There had been a prior nomination.
I'm sorry.
Can everybody mute if they're not speaking? Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Rice, do you accept the nomination of secretary? You, just so you know, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Are you, Commissioner Rice, I'm not sure if you heard part of our discussion, which was that we would rotate if we did not have a nomination or if we did not have someone who accepted that. So I certainly wouldn't want you to feel compelled to do that. If you would prefer to rotate in, as we are, all the commissioners could take an opportunity to do the monthly minutes, just so that we can cross-train one another. We can all get a sense of what that's like. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I like the letter. The suggestion. Taking minutes really is a learning process. It helped acclimated me. I've only taken the minutes, I think, maybe twice. And it was indeed an interesting challenge. And I enjoyed it. But I do think everyone on the board, really on the commission, needs that experience to know what it's like to take the minutes.
Okay.
Because it does allow me, having taken the minutes, to be fully present at all the meetings, even if I'm not taking the minutes, because I know what I'm looking for now, if that makes any sense.
It does. Okay. So am I correct in, and I agree, actually, taking the minutes, following up with the minutes, because taking the minutes, actually, you have to be engaged with the agenda and setting the agenda for the next time. Minutes have to be due within 10 days after the meeting. This is how we keep things moving forward. And it becomes the trigger for the city to do their administrative pieces, including our honorarium for attending minutes and hearings and those attending to meetings and conciliations and those types of things. So I think it's a benefit to the entire commission if we all have that experience and share the load, because it can be quite a lot. So based on what you've said, am I understanding that you are withdrawing your acceptance of the nomination?
I guess so, yes.
I'm not trying to put words in any, but I just, okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Not to throw a wrench in the works here, but this is the first I've heard about a rotating secretary. So I did not look at the rules ahead of time to see if that was possible.
Well, if there's no one who accepts the nomination and no one who's willing to do the office, I do believe the rules permits the chair to assign someone to do the minutes at each meeting if the office is not filled. I could be wrong.
Yes, I think that would be under the ad hoc roles. Yeah, if no one's going to accept the nomination and it's an open position, yeah, then it says the commission may appoint members as required to carry out specific functions. It's just that each person needs to get done, of course, because it needs, of course, to get approved at the next meeting, which leads to
so many things.
yes.
Yeah.
So I guess it could be done if no one else will accept the nomination.
And we've had 2 people nominated and 2 people who have declined. Although I would like to hear from the commission if they are in accord with everyone have an opportunity to take the minutes. Commissioner Alexander is doing it now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could do 6 months if everyone, including myself, the vice chair, has an opportunity to do the minutes and then fill the position. It will be something that I'll certainly revisit. The commission will revisit probably on a monthly basis, but I think moving forward, I would love to hear from the commissioners or any additional discussion on that while we move forward. I see that Commissioner Maddox, I see that you have your hand raised. Oh, no, or that would you like to comment or weigh in on this?
I would concur with Commissioner Rice that everyone having an opportunity to have that experience is a learning experience and gives a bit of depth to the understanding of what we do and what we record and its importance. So I would concur that that might be a solution, is to if you with the chair would delegate that responsibility monthly, then I think it would free up everyone to be able to participate, but not be excessively burdened if that doesn't fit into what they're able to do on a consistent basis. And also it would be at least I would just like to interject that at least the attendance portion per meeting, I don't know if that might be Attorney York or if it might be Nina Aust, that that there would be a dual way of assuring with regard to attendance and who's present per meeting for administrative purposes. That would just be a backup as well as the minutes. That would be my contribution. I must leave now. Everyone have a good evening.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you. All right, bye now. We still are maintaining a quorum. And so is there any other discussion in this matter with regard to the duties of the secretary if we do not have a designated elected office or secretary office? Any other comments or comments? Any other comments? Okay, being none, having none, I will move on to the second item under new business, which is proposed resolution or amendment to rules. Procedurally, there's a couple of things that have come up over the last couple of months, which I'd like to engage the commission, Akron Civil Rights Commission, on, which is in the last month, City of Akron has experienced the homicide of a young man under situations that no citizen or parent or would want. And I think it's an opportunity for the commission to speak to the ongoing humanitarian issue in the county of Summit County, and the city of Akron. Racism has been, and I'm not linking those two, but I'm saying that it is not without precedent that this commission has written and addressed contemporary issues and spoken out on them. As you recall, in 2020, the commission wrote a letter, which appears the last time I checked on the commission's website, that speaks to the ongoing efforts to make sure that all have their rights respected. My thought in putting this on the agenda is that to inquire of the commission if we wish to speak out, if we wish to add our voices to the call for peace. There are a number of things that we could do. We could propose a resolution. We can to address some of those contemporary issues. Any thoughts or other comment on this? In 2020, we did write a letter, and how the commission wrote that letter was that I know I did the initial draft, and then I put it on a document, and people added their comments, and so we kind of all stirred the pot, so to speak. Is that something that the commission would be interested in continuing, or to do with respect to the latest, most recent situation?
May I ask a question just for clarification?
Certainly, it's Commissioner Rice.
Would we be taking a stand on something per se?
If the commission wants to do that, my thought was that we would add our voices to ask for peace, certainly to invite the parties to and the community to remember that we do have a process. We are a nation of laws. We are a community that has to follow rules, and that that even we're a commission that follows rules, and that part of that process is to encourage dialogue, to be heard, but also but to follow. So that was my thought. But certainly, if we did want to, I mean, the commission would have to decide upon that.
Yeah.
It's not excluding that.
My only concern, even though we represent the commission, we also represent our places of employment.
Indeed.
And so even though we would be listed as a commissioner, in that once one sees one's name, they also know the role that you hold in your professional arena. And I guess my question would be, if we are permitted to do such. I guess that's my question.
Which we are you speaking of? The commission?
Yes, I know we as a commission can, but I'm saying when all of our names are listed,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you know where I'm employed. I know where
Yes.
Bruce Alexander's employed. I know where you're employed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm saying is that would that come back to say that yes, we're representing the commission, but we also are we representing our various places of employment? Would that be taken that way? I guess that's my question, and I don't know.
Well, and I think that's a good question. I think, nothing actually happens in isolation, certainly in this community. But I do think that the commission, within our procedure, our rules, the commission speaks with one voice. Certainly, if we were to issue a statement, we would have to almost have unanimous approval of that.
Of course.
And so, given that our jurisdiction and our statutory, our ordinance is, quite defined, public accommodation, housing, employment within the city of Akron, we certainly have an argument that we can speak to the city of residents of Akron. Part of the ordinance is that we educate, engage the community and education about civil rights. So,
I totally agree with that.
Mhm.
Totally agree in education of civil rights. I think that that's our duty.
Mhm.
So I concur with that 110%.
And there are opportunities to educate. I mean, I put this on here so we could discuss, which is, we've previously written a letter that actually still appears on our website, that was signed off and by all of the commissioners at that time. We've also done a CLE on the ordinance. I did that CLE with the Ohio Civil Rights Commission with Attorney Dunn to go through the ordinance. Okay, and that was a CLE. For the last year and a half, many of our commissioners have worked very diligently along with the city in putting together a user-friendly presentation that the commissioners can use if we have speaking engagements or to speak to community groups. It's a PowerPoint so that we can facilitate that education. We can, I'm just saying that we have an opportunity to become a part of the dialogue in a way that both honors our work and respects the men and women who are doing their jobs, as well as respecting our own individual employment situations. I just want to encourage us to think about using our platform in a way that can be an uplift to this community, whether educationally, and certainly not needlessly provocative, but how can we actually uplift this community in a manner that is consistent with both our charge of education and our subject matter of civil rights. So something to mull on. I think it's something to mull on that I would encourage us to always look for those things. I will certainly volunteer to write a letter or to write a document that we can all think about and review to see if it has the right tone and aim, so that we are respectful of the forum that we're in, but we're also using our voices in a way that uplifts the community, and particularly around this, whether it's education, but certainly encouraging our community.
Certainly, I agree.
Okay. Commissioner Miller, I see you shaking your head, but I haven't heard. I just want to know, please, everyone gets to. You're a commissioner now, so you're gonna be called on.
I agree that we shouldn't be silent about it. There obviously has to be that caution of how we state things or whatever, like that's already been discussed. But for us to be silent as a group, I think would be more of a disservice than anything. So I agree.
Okay.
So has to be said.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Commissioner Alexander?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to making sure we educate community about various things, talking about peace, which we need a lot of peace in our city now, with things going on for the last month or so, maybe a little longer. So I think it would be okay. That way they know that we're here and that we're trying to help in any way possible to bring solidarity and some peace and joy and happiness to our community with our voices. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. I'll be more than happy to draft something. I did this before, and circulate to all the commissioners. And I think given the how we use our voice is as important as using our voice. And so certainly any message that's crafted would be subject to all of our input and so I will circulate that to the commissioners and of course CC the city because there might be so that they know what the commission is doing, because we've all been appointed by the mayor. But I think there is a way that we can do that. In addition, I will offer that there are other, we've in the past talked about, and we've done this in the past, to really think about sponsoring educational pieces for the community. I would love to can keep this as an ongoing item on our agenda, that we take this charge to educate and engage our community and actively look for ways to do that. And so we all have, whether it's ADA, whether it's civil rights, whether it's housing, because that is the charge. And I think we can wait for public comment, we can wait for cases, but that's reactive, but we can be proactive with education. So I'll certainly keep this on the agenda and ask that we keep it on the agenda moving forward. Any other comments or thoughts about this? Okay. We are now at it's also item 4, but it should be probably item 5, which is reading of public comments. Attorney York, are there any public comments that
I did check with the administrative secretary here at 4:40 p.m. today, and there were no comments this month. Well, actually for the last 2 months, because we didn't have a meeting last time.
Okay, well, thank you so much. All right, prior to we move on to the adjournment, just before that, is there anything for the good of the order? Any announcements or anything that the commissioners would like to add at this time?
Madam Chair, this is Phil Young.
Mr. Young, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I would just like to offer my services to Commissioner Alexander in finishing up that case. If there's anything that he needs or assistance, please give me a call.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. I thank you so much, Mr. Young. I do see that as we look at moving forward, our standing meeting, our next meeting is scheduled at this time for Tuesday, September 6th, that being the first Tuesday of each month at 4:30. Those meetings typically are by Zoom because it facilitates lots of engagement and scheduling. Is that future time good with everyone? I do see Ms. Yost has a question with regard to that. Or Attorney York, is there a matter with regard to scheduling of meetings?
I haven't been involved in the discussions. I know that Ms. Ost has said that she won't be able to attend, I believe. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Nina, but wouldn't be able to provide services for future meetings, but I don't know where that discussion stands right now.
So the message that I have been given from my manager was that the conversation was that meeting times had to be either during the scheduled workday or have to be in person, because we don't have anyone who can facilitate an after hour. There's no one that is available for the extra overtime, basically, to do the meetings.
Well, Madam
Well-
Chair, what we might need to do is just leave the regularly scheduled meeting on at this point, but in the interim, coordinate with the members of when they can do the next meeting and possibly, just do a notice as a special meeting, whether it's going to be in person or whether it's going to be during the scheduled or during the workday.
Okay, so I have a question. Okay, and I appreciate all of those things. I do know that, however, what Akron City Council, are they also on the same live streaming process that we're on and a part of? And don't those meetings take place at 7:30 at night?
From my knowledge, that those are done from a different, those are backed in a different way. We do not have, we have people that will do overtime one time a week for those things. We don't have people to cover additional meetings. This is the only meeting left that has not been handed off to someone either in the department that is the liaison, or handed over to come back on site. And sadly, I just don't have the time available anymore.
Okay, well, Nina, you and Ms. Ost, you've been awesome and appreciative, but I would hate to think that the entire weight of the city of Akron and this commission rests on your shoulders. And so I propose that the resources that are available to if other meetings are held weekly at 7 o'clock at night, 7:30 and so on, that surely once a month at 4:30, and we typically don't go past 50 minutes to an hour and a half, that I will follow up with the resources available from the city. I'm not assuming that you are the only person that's available, but I would certainly, I'm gonna ask respectfully that the schedule of this commission and the commissioners, be addressed. Because-
Absolutely, and that's definitely your prerogative. I do know that council is covered by council staff.
Okay.
Council meetings are streamed by their staff, so
And
their scheduling and their everything is completely separate from this.
Right.
I would say that
Thank you,
during
Ms.
the pandemic, I had 5+ meetings, and this is the only one left that has not returned to in person. So absolutely, it is absolutely your prerogative to discuss this further.
I do
and
know
take
that.
offline.
Thank you, Ms.
So-
Ost. Thank you, Ms. Ost. Because what I'm going to say, and I appreciate that, which is, if you're the only person in the city that can assist this commission, then there's a problem with the city. And I'm not suggesting it's your problem, but I'm suggesting that the resources that we have been asked to do with or without should not rest purely with you. So I'm going to follow up with the city as is my prerogative, but also is as my charge. And so I will not. Could you try again? Oh my God, Siri wants to get in the conversation. So I appreciate all the service and effort that you've done. I will be taking this up with the law department, with the mayor's chief of staff, so that we have the resources to do these matters. I also will be consulting with the commissioners procedurally to see how we might be able to do this during the week at a different time. So I just want you to know that I appreciate all of your efforts, and I appreciate that the commissioners did not, since I've been on the commission, we didn't set the meeting. I came into a set scheduled meeting. Yeah, that it was scheduled for me. And so should this need to be changed, I would have hoped to have been, this would have been communicated in a way, not during the meeting, but I will roll with what we have to roll with and ask for the resources that we need to move forward. So thank you so much. And I will take this up with the chief of staff directly.
Madam President.
Commissioner Alexander.
So I agree that you would probably need to talk to someone to see how we can do this, because I think all of us maybe on this call, I assume have other jobs during the day, and it is difficult sometimes to meet during that time. And I think that may be part of the reason too that city council meets it in the evening, because some of them probably have jobs that they can't make during the day. So I think that would be appropriate to contact whoever needs to be contacted to see if we can do this, because it is only 1 hour, as you stated, a month that we meet, and hopefully they can get someone to do this for us for at least 1 month. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Rice.
Yes, I want to echo what Commissioner Alexander said. Realistically, we move to regular the workday of meeting. I cannot guarantee that I could remain on this committee, to be very honest with you. I don't know from day to day what my meeting schedule, if the president or someone, provost, calls an emergency meeting, I have to attend. And I would feel really guilty of saying I'm going to attend a meeting and then I have to tell you an hour before that I got called into another meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I have this blocked off my calendar now. And I've kind of made that, and I do like the 4:30 because that's still cutting, because our day goes to 5 o'clock. But I still am able to kind of maneuver and do that. So I just really have to question the resources if we're really serious about this commission.
Right. I thank you, Commissioner Rice. And I just want to say to, any of the city staff, particularly Ms. Ost, who's been very helpful and has helped make this happen, that I'm not just looking at one person as a resource. I'm looking at the city as a resource. The mayor appointed all of us. And if we are saying that, there's not support or resources to have to support the commissioners and the very function that they're supposed to do, then, that's a bigger issue than if we can't support a once a month meeting. Boy, that's a big issue. And so I will certainly address this with the chief of staff and others so that we can faithfully carry out our charge. Otherwise, what's the point? Okay, and we do need resources. So thank you very much, Commissioner Rice, Commissioner Alexander. Commissioner Miller, I want to make sure you're engaged, so I'm asking if you would like to add something because we're here.
I mean, I'm in agreement with everybody. I don't want to I don't want to talk over anybody. That's my nervousness right now. But
it's okay.
But yeah, I agree. The resources need to be there if this is going to be taken seriously. And yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much. And certainly, Ms. Ost, I do want to thank you for all of your assistance and your help in moving this forward. Certainly, we'll try to zig and zag where we can, but I hope that there are other resources that the city can provide to this commission so that we can do this work. Any other, anything else for the good of the order? All right, at this time, it being 5:50, if there are no objections, I'll move to adjourn the meeting, and I don't believe we have to vote on that. So thank you all, commissioners. Please be well. I'll be following up with regard to other procedural matters prior to our next scheduled meeting, which at this time is 4:30 on Tuesday, September 6th. That might have to change, but we'll certainly be able to, certainly engage in some procedural dialogue to address that. Okay. Thank you so much.